Well, what a roller coaster. What a roller coaster ride every football fan is currently on. Welcome back to West Ham United. I am Anton, of course, bringing you another West Ham Daily, and it is a crazy West Ham Daily today. And yeah, as you can see in the title, the Big Six could face a points deduction. Are West Ham in the title race? Get your comments in and let me know your thoughts on all the news that has broken from yesterday during the day, then officially announced late last night. I mean, I don't think I went to bed until about 2 o'clock in the morning, and I've got two kids under the age of 5. And I was up early this morning putting them out to their nursery and their school, etc. And it's just been consumed all day. And the news, of course, is that Arsenal, Chelsea, Liverpool, Man City, Manchester United and Tottenham are among 12 clubs who have agreed to join a new European Super League. Everything that we have obviously heard all day, you've been reading up on it all day. Keep your comments coming in and let me know your honest opinion on the whole situation. And I know you've just watched My Hammers 11, Russ, and he's been saying, and thanks for passing over that torch, of course, Russ, but it is a big, bold move for European football. The Premier League clubs that I've mentioned will join AC Milan, Atletico Madrid, Barcelona, Inter Milan, Juventus, and Real Madrid. The European Super League have said the founding clubs have agreed to establish a new midweek competitions with teams continuing to compete in the respective national leagues. That's if they're allowed to continue in their domestic leagues. We'll come on to a little bit more about that moving forward. It says the inaugural season is intended to commence as soon as practical and anticipated that a further 3 clubs will join the breakaway. Every footballing body and their aunt and their uncle, including UEFA and the Premier League, have condemned the move when the news of it broke on Sunday evening. And then in a statement, the Super League said, going forward, the founding clubs look forward to holding discussions with UEFA and FIFA to work together in partnership to deliver the best outcomes for the new league and as for football as a whole. So the formation of the Super League comes at a time when the global pandemic has accelerated and instability in the existing European football economic model. In recent months, extensive dialogue has taken place with all the footballing stakeholders regarding the future format of the European competitions. Has that gone all secret conversations? And this is where all legal matters, etc., potentially can come into place. The founding clubs believe the solutions proposed following these talks do not solve the fundamental issues, including the need to provide higher quality matches and additional financial resources for the overall footballing pyramid. And that's their conversation in related to the Champions League change of format, which you've probably heard again, or if you've read into, where the Champions League is looking to go from 32 clubs to 36 clubs, and then offering an elite team selections to specific teams that are there. So it's just all sounds so corrupt, if I'm being honest. That's even in relation to the Champions League and, of course, the Super League. Manchester United's co-chairman, Joe Glazier, will be the vice-chairman of the Super League, and he said by bringing together the world's greatest clubs and players to play each other throughout the season, the Super League will open a new chapter for European football, ensuring world-class competition and facilities and increased financial support for the wider footballing pyramid. I mean, how greedy and how cocksure are you of yourselves? You know, I can't believe that these clubs define themselves as the biggest clubs. You know, I understand the history that some of these clubs have had, but it's just so. I can't explain it. I mean, put the words in my mouth. I'm pissed off. I'm angry about the whole situation. But I'm angry because of the complications it's going to have and the knock-on effect it's going to have moving down to the every league in Europe, as you can imagine. Keep your comments coming in. I'm really intrigued to read them and see loads of them coming through. So what is the proposed format of the Super League, of course? And let's have a look at the design. I mean, this genuinely looks like Stell knocked this up on Canva. I mean, if you watch this West Ham Weekly, which you'll be doing tonight, I don't know what time he's going live at, this genuinely looks like a Stell's graphic. I mean, literally, you think they would go a little bit different with that design. And like I said here, you can see all the images of the clubs that are rumored, that are going to be proposed to joining the Super League. I mean, it's embarrassing, isn't it? But the proposed format will have 20 teams, the 12 founding members plus the 3 unnamed clubs they expect to join soon, and 5 sides who qualify annually according to their domestic achievements. One thing I don't understand, and if anyone knows, please get it in the comments, what happens with those 5 clubs that qualify from the domestic leagues if this is allowed to go ahead and the domestic leagues accept them? Then each year, are they stating that each year that 5 clubs will qualify? And if it's only a 20-team formation, then what? If you're guaranteeing a spot for the founder members, then I'm confused by that part, so please come into me. So apparently they're saying it will start in the month of August, not this August, but it will start in the month of August with midweek fixtures, and the clubs will split into 2 groups of 10 who play each other home and away. The top 3 in each group qualify for the quarterfinals, with the teams in 4th and 5th playing a 2-legged playoff for the remaining spots. From then on, it will have the same 2-leg knockout format used in the Champions League before a single-leg final in May at a neutral venue. The new format has been put forward as a rival to the Champions League and is not a replacement of the domestic league. However, it's looking likely they will have wider ramifications. UEFA, in a joint statement with the European leagues, have blasted the plans, insisting players involved would be banned from all other competitions at domestic, European and world level, and also potentially be prevented from representing their national teams. I mean, what an absolute crazy punishment. The new Super League will be funded by none other than the greedy JP Morgan, and yeah, they are looking at funding clubs. The founding clubs will receive 3.5 billion euros. Yes, you have heard me right. 3.5 billion euros solely to support their infrastructures and to offset the COVID pandemic. 3.5 billion pounds. Why would you care remotely about any other competition if you're going to receive that amount of money and subsequently receive 300 million pounds per season you play in this competition? I mean, you can qualify for this competition if you're sitting, if you're allowed to go into your domestic league. You're allowed to qualify for this competition if you're sitting in 11th, if you're 11th place in your domestic league, if that's allowed moving forward. But you're then in the Super League anyway because you're automatically qualify. The Premier League and all leagues around Europe have a set of rules that all clubs must follow, and they state that prior written approval from the Premier League board to enter any other competition. So as you can see up here, except with the prior written approval of the board during the season, a club shall not enter or play its senior men's first team in any competitions other than, as you can see here, the UEFA Champions League, the Europa League, the FA Cup, the FA Community Shield, the Football League, or competitions sanctioned by the county association of which it's a member. Yeah, I mean, Premier League rule L9 means clubs who have signed up to the European Super League will have to quit England's top flight, and if they continue to follow through with their approvals. And again, other news that's coming out today is Mourinho has been sacked from Tottenham, allegedly rumoured that he stood up to Daniel Levy today, saying that he wasn't going to let the players train, he's against the idea, and then bang, they've moved on, apparently rumoured to have got rid of him. Clubs in France, Ligue 1, have denied that they're going to join the league, and as have clubs in Bundesliga, with Borussia Dortmund putting out a statement today saying they will not join the league. We've not waiting to hear yet from Bayern Munich, of course. But what complications could this have on the likes of West Ham? As you can see in my title, West Ham title bid. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, there's a part of me I'm going to bring on a guest in literally a minute's time, and it's really cool because it's an opposition fan that's been on the channel quite a few times. I'm going to get his point of view as well. But let me just take a look at, some of the complications that could happen. And there's rumours are saying that, going around saying that even if the clubs who have now put the letter of intent and the statement out saying that they're going to join the Super League decide that they don't want to join the Super League, there's still going to be ramifications and some disciplinary actions put on those clubs for breaking the rules stating that you have an intention to, and the fact that you've signed a document to say that you will join that league. So what are the ramifications? Is it going to be a points deduction? If you look at a points deduction, you look at the current league, you've got Man City, Man United. Of course, you've got Leicester, West Ham, Chelsea, Liverpool. If you get a points deduction, how many points will they deduct them? What does that do for the challenge? Does that bring Leicester and West Ham, push them further up the league, etc.? Can they do it? Will they do it? I mean, loads of things to consider is, have the Premier League clubs gone down legal action before this has all happened? Have they covered every single angle? Surely to God that they've got some of the best legal teams in the world looking at everything that they can do. It's not like they would have missed this rule that the Premier League set out. It just baffles me. And I mean, listen, worst case scenario, they get kicked out of the league, Premier League, and they go null and void. This is what the league would look like. The points versus the other 14 after week 38, West Ham would be leading the league with 9 points and on our way charging for one more win to get the Premier League title. You never know, but again, I know I'm clasping at straws here, but it's just something to consider. I mean, it's just, I don't know, I feel I'm shell-shocked, and I think the whole world is shell-shocked. But what I'm going to do, and I know there's loads of people in the chat, I'm going to bring on a good friend of the channel, Jack Mack. Jack, how you doing, mate? Liverpool fan, massive Liverpool fan. How you doing, mate?
Not too bad, mate. Welcome, man. Thank you for having me on, mate. Love to speak to all the Hammers.
No
I
worries,
didn't get any sleep at all last night. Absolutely.
Mate,
like,
I said the same. I
I
said the same. Yeah, mate. I was I went to bed at like 2 because they were expecting the announcement to come in about 9:30ish. It never came through till about 11ish, I think, and then or whatever it was. And I was trying to understand the whole concept. But Jack, over to you. Jack's a massive Liverpool fan. He's got his own channel, Liverpool channel on YouTube. He's been on our show a few times. Jack, mate, tell me what is going on and what's your opinion on the Super League?
For me, and I'm going to speak for all my Liverpool mates, and obviously can't speak for all Liverpool fans around the world, but from me, personal point of view, lads, live 10 minutes away from the ground, bleed red. It means so much to me, this football club, and what has happened. This signifies what is happening in the modern day of modern football. The owners, you've got your clowns running the football club. We've got our clowns running the football club. All 6 an absolute disgrace, especially in the Premier League. For me, I hope they throw the book at us. If the Premier League suspend us, kick us out, or if no one knows really, are they going to take the league titles off us? Our Premier League title that we won the season before, Champions League, is that going to be getting stripped, the 05 and the one we just recently won as well in the Champions League? It's we don't know a lot, but what we do know is those ideas and ideology from the owners in which they've set out in agreeing to the principles of this league, they don't coincide with the people of Liverpool, most importantly, and of being a working class city. I think Bill Shankly, it's a disgrace. He'll be rolling in his grave, sadly, for what he built from the football club. Sir Matt Busby at Manchester United, and that quote in the stands of football is not without fans. Football's been going down this road, Anton and West Ham fans. It's been going down this road for a very long time. It was the introduction of Sky Sports coming in. Obviously, football has to evolve. I think everyone agrees with that. But it's the planning in which you go forward in football. There's no dialogue at all. The West Ham owners make decisions, stupid decisions. I've been watching from the outside point of view. Liverpool Football Club have made very stupid decisions. There's no fan representation at all in any 5 of these football clubs within the Premier League. Obviously, the Bundesliga has got a very good model. It's very much fan-owned. I think it's 51% club-owned. So I think we need to go down the rule. I think Gary Neville hit the nail on the head. There needs to be something needs to happen. Where, yes, all these 6 clubs should get sanctioned, and rightly so, but not at the cost of the supporters. We've had no say. It's the people at the top of these football clubs, which have continued year on year making these poor decisions.
Yeah, mate. It's baffling. I mean, when I look at the concept behind the league, I mean, it's guaranteed that you play in the Super League each year. Guaranteed, no matter what happens in whatever domestic league you're in, as a founding club. I mean, what does that really drive as a club. I mean, literally, this is where it all comes down to. It does come down to greed, and every football fan knows it's not the players. Every football fan knows it's not the fans. Probably every football fan knows it's probably not most of the managers. It comes down to purely one thing, and that is money.
Yeah, it's standard for the modern day millionaires now, isn't it? That's all they care about. That's how they're successful in life. They've got a lot of money, fair play to them, but they don't represent us as fans that buy the season tickets, buy the shirts, and the shirts aren't that cheap, like that be said. If you're looking at £100 and if you've got a couple of kids, that adds up anyway, doesn't it? And if you want to buy it yourself, most notably anyway, but it's crazy, mate. And I'm smiling now, but one thing that was going through my mind last night, and a lot of Liverpool fans, was Jurgen Klopp, I think it was last year or something, was quoted as dismissing this competition. He reacted very angrily to the idea and the notion of the Super League being created, and really, will he be in charge of Liverpool Football Club? Because he would have flipped a couple of tables last night. He would have been absolutely disgraced by what this means, not just for Liverpool, but for the other top 6 teams in England.
But I mean, what are you thinking as fans, though? I mean, listen, I mean, we're as West Ham fans, for us, it's been a fantastic season. I know it's not been so great for yourselves, Jack, but you're still within a whiskers, shout of getting some Champions League football. I mean, but who cares? This is the point.
We've got a game tonight, haven't we? What's the point if we're not going to be in the competition next season? We're playing.
Yeah, and this is the way I look at it. It's like, if you are allowed to play in a domestic league, but you are, let's say you're 10, 50, like the distance you are from Man City just now, what's the point in trying to finish high up the league when you know the money's coming from the Super League and you're just going to go and play to earn, it's, I can't fathom the whole thing, to be honest.
It's all Americanized, isn't it, mate? And I think, obviously, if there's any American fans out there, just try and explain to what the idea of, obviously, it's American sport introduced. They don't agree with draws. They always want someone to win, and they can't. I've seen a quote before on Sky, mate, on YouTube. Go and check it out. It was one of the member of, not Z Club, but one of them. It said the football interest is secondary, and it's all, the first priority is revenue. And that just, I'd say I'm surprised by that, but I'm not. It's, how can you be in a league, mate? Obviously, there's a beauty. We grew up watching football with our parents or family members. It's the beauty of everyone can get relegated, everyone can get promoted. Liverpool, if they had an absolutely terrible season like we're having this season, it's football is magical. And Leicester winning the league, David Moyes, he's done a fantastic job. Who's to say West Ham in the next couple of years possibly could challenge for a top place in English game, get into the Champions League. That's the beauty of football. That's why we support. Whether you support a team down your local or a club close to your heart as well, up and down the length and breadth of this country, football's integrated in the heart of every single one of us.
No, you're right, mate. I mean, I'm like Jack, just like you and every football fan is. I'm sitting here, mind boggled by the decision that the clubs have taken. I mean, it really is cocky, isn't it? It's like
it stinks.
It
stinks.
Yeah. And it just, I have so much I want to say, but I have so much I want to say. I keep forgetting what I want to say. There's so many comments, people coming in here saying they're traitors and etc. and stuff. But what's the Liverpool fan base saying? Like you're in and about it all the time.
Massively. Everyone's singing from the same hymn sheet, really. I think everyone's in full agreement. You might see the one person on Twitter. Don't take the viewpoint of people on Twitter. For right, the people of everyone around the world. Liverpool's got millions of fans globally, and don't get me wrong, I've got my viewpoints, but I understand the football club and what this city and what it means for a lot of people's mental health as well. We've spoken to, it's the timing. Gary Neville mentioned yesterday as well. Not many times I agree with Gary Neville, but it's obviously one thing that you agree with. The mental health aspect for football at the minute, due to the current climate in which we do find ourselves in. As I said, I didn't get any sleep last night, and I know a lot of my mates who sat and you and son, and obviously all the West Ham fans. Obviously, you aren't involved, but it's what it means for the overall package of the Premier League as a spectacle? Will advertisements, like advertising revenue, drop? Or there's so many questions from us as fans. There's been no dialogue at all from any fan supporting groups that support all these football clubs. I know Spirit of Shankly, a very leading light in Liverpool, one of the biggest supporters groups for Liverpool. They go and check them out on Twitter. Everyone who's they reacted as you would expect. And the one thing that I'm looking forward to is the reaction from Jurgen Klopp and the players. Because I honestly, if those players take the knee tonight and they don't get back up, what's the point of playing? Just stay on the pitch or just walk off after they're obviously taking the knee. Because there needs to be a lot more players coming out. But as you said at the top of the show, Anton, there's going to be so many legal ramifications.
This is the part I don't understand though, because you're talking about like we'll talk about the top six, big six club comment in a minute. We're very aware that some of the clubs mentioned
Tottenham.
Justifiably, yeah, but Tottenham we're all laughing at exactly, yeah. But the ramifications coming back to the clubs. Surely all these clubs have got a legal team. Surely they've looked through absolutely everything that's out there to state what ramifications would come back to these clubs. Do you think that if there is ramifications, which the Premier League are stating that there definitely will be, that the clubs are actually bothered by it, with you consider the amount of money that is involved here?
It's the quote from one of the chief executives from Sky, the scene before, that they're not arse, mate. And it's a sad reality. They're not thinking of the fans, they're just thinking about themselves. Money, 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 money. And as I said, the introduction of Sky and football was going down this, it was going to hit a precipice, really. It was going to hit a point in time where we can't continue in that same direction. Because there's not a lot of grass. You look at Betty and you look at a lot of great football clubs that have disappeared. That's people's livelihoods, people's passion and love for their club, for their local or the club in which they support, mate. But yeah, it's they've not taken into account any of the fans, and it's the way it's been swept under the carpet. I think me and you discussed it a couple of months ago, and a lot obviously the football and Wales discussed the idea and the notion of it being introduced a couple of months back, and everyone was like, "Nah, it won't happen." But it looks like it's happening. But I honestly hope the Premier League, UEFA, do throw the book at these clubs involved, and that is me coming from a Liverpool fan. From me personal point of view,
do you seriously think though, Jack? Do you seriously think when you say throw the book that expulsion from the league is going to be an option? I mean, what is that? What whirlwind of legality do? I know we don't know that, and I know that's a whole different ball game, and we're going to have to keep waiting to hear, because we're still. I mean, as Russ put in the comments 2 seconds ago, it looks like Schalke could be interested in joining the league. I mean, what club who doesn't have money that was to be offered up to 3.5 billion wouldn't, considering 12 clubs have already gone, let's do this?
I'm not saying the Premier League is perfect, or the FA, or English football in general is perfect, and even Sky, that's not perfect as well. Obviously, these clubs have been impacted by COVID financially, and they're just looking for a quick buck or another revenue source, and they've went about it the wrong way, I feel. And everyone's spot on in the comment section below every single one of them, and I think everyone's under the all agreement. Whatever club you do support, it's about time the fans really took a stand. But we can't. They wouldn't be doing this, mate, if COVID currently wasn't happening around the globe. Because you would see the reaction. You'd have the whole stadium, every single person in that stadium in the Premier League walk out after minute one. And the people wouldn't be turning up to the stadiums. It's almost like they've analysed the last year in which we've had these owners and went, there's no fans in the stadium. We can do it without them.
Yeah. I mean, there's rumours coming out left, right, and centre. I mean, like you said, Jack, Klopp's totally dead against the idea. I mean, if this goes ahead, is he gone, mate?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's the one thing that was going over my mind. Liverpool, one of our great, well, in my lifetime, really. I grew up with my dad watching Shankly and Paisley and the previous managers are gone. But this is the best football Liverpool have been playing, mate. And it's coincided with this mess. We've waited 30 years to win one league title, and then we've got Jurgen, and obviously for what Jurgen Klopp stands for as a person, obviously read his autobiography and everything, and watched him in the Bundesliga. Um, it, he likes to ideal himself with ideas of football clubs. That's why he comes to Liverpool. You never walk alone. That's a bit rich now from the football club. Really, all these mottos, even Man United, it just smacks belief.
yeah, mate. Talking to you right now, like I'm on a world of like I'm just confused by the whole thing. But obviously, my club aren't involved and are facing potential sanctions. Or we don't really know what's going to happen. But you look fed up, like you look totally fit. Compared to your usual like
Yeah,
bubbly self. It's and it's just intriguing to hear and see and it's just I don't know, mate. It's like is this it? Is this the change now? Is
I'm
this going to be where it's going to be? Is You've seen that famous poster in the German football league, made from the poor and sold
so bought by the
bought,
rich.
bought by
Yeah,
the rich, sold to the rich.
yeah.
Yeah,
It's the way in which the world's going in, mate. You've got people controlling these big companies, really casting aside the people in which made them who they are. As football was a working man sport, but it's slowly it was gone. I think it's grew out of that. It's become a very rich and elaborate sport. And as I said, it was year on year, it was taken away. And I'm angry, mate. But obviously, I've been shielding for the last year and couple of months with COVID, and there's been a lot of people that have been stuck in, and it's the sheer arrogance from these owners
yeah. That's the
and
words, mate. That's the words.
it's absolute arrogance. And as being a neutral and watching the West Ham, I was gutted to see you move from Upton Park. What a stadium! But I know obviously football clubs have got to grow in that. But I loved Upton Park. What a stadium! But
Yeah.
and it doesn't feel right. West Ham being in that stadium as well.
I mean, you've got politicians from all over the world coming out saying they'll do everything in their power not to allow this to happen. The thing is, it's not illegal for clubs to go and create a league. It's illegal for the clubs to go and create a league and expect to play in the current competitions that they're in. And the ramifications could be that the
Yeah.
other thing is they're saying, the arrogance of clubs by saying the fans spoke and wanted change, so we're going to give them change. But that's arrogant because what you're saying is 15 clubs each year will qualify. That's it, done. All they'll do is they'll qualify each year, no matter how they perform in the Premier League or in their subsequent leagues that they play in. And 5 clubs domestically will qualify, but the only clubs that can get relegated or removed are the 5 clubs that got the chance to come in. It doesn't. The concept is just completely wide of the mark. It doesn't.
Yeah.
One of the guys, another West Ham channel was on earlier on, and I was on there, and I put on some chat, and I was going 2022, Man United versus Juventus, 2023, Man United versus Juventus, 2024, Man United versus Juventus. The whole point of European competition is you do play some different teams. Now, I understand Champions League football. I get it, like, because I watch teams from countries, and I'm like, really? Like, it's like the Euro qualifiers, 7-0, 8-0, 8-1, right? That's not fantastically great. However, if these clubs, I mean, the competition in the Premier League is going to change because the clubs are not bothered. And, selfishly, you're a bit like, well, at least we'll then qualify or get a chance of pushing up further up in the league. Well, you've got 4 dead teams in the league, really? Dead? Like, it is a little bit like that. They're dead in the league. There's no need for them to be there.
Yeah, you need just all the competition is going to be gone. Obviously, the clubs. It's going to be interesting. I'm trying to. I understand what you're saying here, mate, and it's interesting I've spoke to you because obviously a club not being in that 6, like as I said, the ramifications of the clubs outside the top 6. We could all laugh and joke about West Ham or Everton even winning a league title, first time in a long time, but it's what it means for everyone involved. Will the sponsorship go down? Will there be less money? Obviously, the audience and the appeal of the Premier League. You couldn't class it as the best league in the world when you've got 6 big teams that make the product. And it's horrible to say the product, but it is more or less.
Yeah.
If these owners are selling a product, their company, to these devils, which they are. It's just is it investment bankers. I tried to read into it. It's
But they
weird.
don't. They have no connection to the club.
Yeah.
They don't care about the club. They don't care about the fans. They don't care about the players. It's literally pure greed. It's taking money for themselves to line their pockets, thinking that that's what the fan base want. But I've never saw such an outcry of negativity towards one thing in my life. I was talking to some of the guys in our group earlier on today, and I know you were using the comparable factor of Premier League when that first came around back in '92. There was a lot of controversy over that. Even the Champions League, a bit of controversy over that. The difference is, though, you've got to win something to qualify, or you've got to compete, or at least finish in a top 4. Now, that part annoys me about the Champions League. I'm not going to lie. Of course, I want West Ham to finish 4th and qualify for the Champions League. But when you really think about it, it's the Champions League and a 4th team can win it. That pisses me off. And that's why, if they're subject to changes today, and the changes that they're potentially putting out in place, even in the Champions League, is about allowing elite teams to qualify,
to stay on top, innit?
Just to stay there. But the whole thing is lost its concept, and it's changing. It's completely. I thought the move to the London Stadium for West Ham fans was obviously it was an awful move for us, but we've got to live with it. We've got to deal with it, and we have to deal with it. But for what? For what now? It's a little, and then your rival club Everton about to build a £500 million stadium for what? And I'm not saying football will continue. There's no ifs or buts about it, mate. It will. But what we've grown to love and care for, and have the excitement of. Like, what are we going to qualify? Champions League, where the best clubs won't be playing in it. Like, it's just madness, mate.
It's mad, and I think obviously the next 24, 48 hours, because I honestly hope, and I think the players need to, not just for Liverpool and Man United, but obviously West Ham and obviously the other players in the Premier League and world football. These players grew up. Yes, there'll be a couple of players around world football, like any job. The player is just because they're good at the game, but there'll be a lot of players there that it's a passion to them, and obviously they've trained hard to be good at football. But there needs to be a stand. There needs to be, we as fans, as you said, mate, it's nail on the head. We cannot do nothing. The power is not in our hands. The only power which we've got as fans, as a whole collective, is buying season tickets, buying these subscriptions to the supposedly new TV channel deal, whatever they're going to be making, kits and everything. Hit them where it hurts, really, and that's their pockets. But I'm saying this, and you won't really care, will they? In reality, but it's crazy, and I honestly hope Jurgen and if David Moyes comes out, I think they've all come under the notion of, and if that was the case, I don't know if everyone's seen on Sky, Jose, he was supposedly, don't get me wrong, they were playing bad, but he told his players, supposedly in Sky, if you want to believe it, told his players not to train due to the reaction of the news.
But I mean, this is Russ from My Hammers Living saying that UEFA's Alexander Kefren saying the players will play in the Super League will be banned from playing the World Cup and Euros. They will not be allowed to play for their national teams. I mean, if you're a player of those clubs, I mean, I'm currently, as we're talking live, I'm looking at Twitter, and you've now got professional footballers coming out and putting statements out. I've just read one there from Herrera, who's currently at PSG, stating that he's not for it. Pablo Fornals, the same as well. West Ham player. There's players all over saying that it's going crazy. And now the Premier League's 14 remaining clubs to hold crisis talks on Tuesday to discuss their next move following an announcement of a breakaway European Super League from the top 6. I mean, it's just constant news updating all the time. I've not known anything like that, Jack, before. I really haven't.
Yeah, it's crazy. And obviously, I think Sky have only kicked off because they're not part of the package. I think
Yeah.
you'd have the TV hosts interrupting their guests, or is it like when Gary had something to say and then these views don't represent or coincide or align with Sky Sports News? They only don't coincide and align with Sky Sports News because they're not involved with this deal. If they jumped in bed with this Super League, Sky would be all for it, and the headlines would be, but
Get this
obviously,
subscription package.
yeah. Here's an extra 50 quid onto your Sky package or Virgin package, and then just to watch 10 games a year.
Jack, I'll ask you a question, mate. Apparently, there's people saying that there's already signs all up over Anfield already saying rest in peace, Liverpool, all that sort of stuff. If the Super League happens, mate, can you see a boycott to go into games? What can you see happening with the fans?
Most definitely, mate. Obviously, Liverpool have took a stand over the last couple of years with ticketing pricing. And as I said on my show yesterday, it's FSG. Don't get me wrong, they've done well. They've got Jurgen Klopp in, but they've made 5 steps forward in the right direction and made 10 steps back. It seems to be to make decisions at this football club. It's just typical of American owners of English football, or any owners for that matter, that haven't really analysed and they don't understand the football clubs they're buying into. They're just like buying a product. Most definitely will be a boycott. In every sense of avenue, whether that's memberships, shirts, season ticket renewals. I think they've only just had season ticket renewals, but I think what's the point of season ticket renewals when you're not even going to be in the competition?
Yeah.
So I don't even. There's so many questions, mate, that we all need answers.
There is, and I mean, there's questions coming to both of us. Will there be ramifications if a club has signed up to the Super League, which they already have, or B, when they kicked off their first game? And I believe I'm on the understanding that now that the 6 clubs in England have actually put their statement out, which from what I understand, is the letter of intent. It's all related to the letter of intent. Then it doesn't matter if Liverpool or Arsenal or Chelsea pull out of this. The intent has been done, therefore the rule has been broken.
Yeah.
Therefore, the ramifications, there's going to be some disciplinary action taking place. But this is the part I still can't get my head around, is the legality options. Surely these clubs have looked into every single legal option, and maybe the money covers the cost of what the legal actions will be and the punishment will be. Maybe they're willing to accept the Premier League to leave the Premier. Do you want to leave the Premier League? I know you don't. I mean, it's like, what the fuck?
No, mate. I know we all have our football and rivalries, mates that support other teams, but it's part of being a football fan, winding up your mates on the weekend. If you get beat by them, you get slapped up by the Ev, like we did in the last derby. It's horrible to watch, but it's what we love to, what we grew up with, like football.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. Jack, mate, it's been an absolute pleasure. I mean, the whole point of our daily shows is to keep them short and sweet, but there was never going to be short and sweet today because the world has just been shell-shocked by the news of what's going to be happening with this Super League. And it's the footballing world that's shell-shocked. I am, you are. I mean, of course, I support West Ham, you support Liverpool, and you're massively involved in what's about to take place. And you can totally tell that most fans are against it. You hear the odd fan saying, "Oh, I understand it," but you don't. You can't. How can you?
No.
How can you get behind something where you can't really lose? You're sorry, or you want to win. You want to be number one of 20 teams, but the same 15 teams every single year, the exact same teams every single year. Like, what happens there? And then the players. Like, it's just, it actually sounds, if I'm being brutally honest, Jack, it sounds boring.
Yeah, I honestly think this morning was like, shit, is this a dream? Because I think I'm currently living in a dream, mate.
Yeah.
Honestly. But yeah, I've seen a couple of people mention in the comment section below. As I said, if the book gets thrown at us, Mike Dappy said anyway, that Liverpool fans will kick off, but we will respect the authority's decision. But make this be said, it's not the Liverpool fans or fans of all these clubs that are making decisions. It's the people at the top of these football clubs. And as Gary said, these people haven't got voices. They never come out on public television. They haven't got the bottle to. No, like even your owners, they haven't got the bottle. And the more interesting,
and I think,
TV shows.
Yeah, and you're right, mate. And I think a lot of these guys have already stepped down from their current roles. in the UEFA, etc., to take up other roles now in the Super League, which is suggesting that they don't give a monkeys. They're just going to go ahead and do it. I mean, Bonnie Hammer here is asking West Ham fans, would you swap GSB for Americans who would buy the club with debt, given the chance, would sell the soul of the club for a chance of European Super League? And I mean, my answer to that would be no, of course not. But
that comes down to like the fit and proper persons test as well, isn't it, mate?
Yeah.
There's no really good regulations in and around that. There needs to be a whole revamp of football, the game. As Gary said yesterday, I know keep on referencing, but his passion. He was speaking from the
He made
heart.
sense, mate. Yeah.
He's like any of us. Like we love football, live and breathe football. The regulations within the current climate is sport in which we do find ourselves in a variety of sports, but most importantly football. In English football, the rule makers, as I said, those great people that Bill Shankly's, if he was around, man, he'd be on Sky Sports News giving an absolute beans. Yeah.
Cool. Sorry, no worries, mate. Well, listen, that kind of comes to an end with our daily show. Jack, thank you so much for joining us, mate. Jack's got his own Liverpool channel, so go and check it out. Jack Mack, it's Jack Mack LFC, isn't it?
Yeah. Might change it after this.
Well, I know, mate. I don't know what's going to happen. I mean, listen, if you want to come support West Ham, we're more than welcome. We've got our hands open for you. But I mean, it could be it could get to the point, mate, where it could be you could literally be Liverpool FC who is part of the Super League, and that's it.
Yeah, I don't think we'll even be on FIFA.
I know, mate. That's why people are talking about playing. Is it PES? They're talking about going back to PES. Yeah, absolutely. But listen, thank you very much for joining us, mate. And everyone, thank you very much for joining us. It was supposed to be a short daily, but of course, it never is going to be. Join still tonight about 8:30 p.m. for a West Ham Weekly. And we'll be back tomorrow again for another daily. Subscribe to the channel. Come on, you Irons.